Hi, today we are showing a new product to our range, the MM03 common rail tester. As it is not possible to show all its functions in one video, this will be part one of many other videos. And this first video is a general overview, and later on each function will be described in more detail. This product allows garages to make correct diagnosis of faults in the common rail system on the vehicle, so ensuring that only the faulty component is removed for repair or replacement. The MM03 works on the following systems: Bosch, Delphi, Denso and Siemens common rail systems. On the car, the MM03, in complete independence of the ECU, can perform these functions: test common rail pressure in any working condition, also has automatic recognition of pressure sensor brand as well as testing its efficiency. Can also manage and control testing of the high pressure efficiency by allowing the operator to regulate the pressure from 0 to 1500 bar depending upon the common rail system. Management and control testing of the pressure regulating valve or inlet metering valves efficiency by driving them with the MM03 independently of the ECU. And it also allows the operator to vary the common rail pressure when doing back leakage tests. Also, when used in conjunction with a hand pump on the bench, you can drive the injectors, both coil and piezo, allowing you to test the minimum injector release pressure and view the quality and uniformity of the spray pattern. Also checking the back leakage on the bench. And while driving the injector, you can vary the injector opening frequency and drive the injector in either pilot, pre or main injection. Now we're just going to show the hand unit itself with the displays on the screen. First, when powered up, first of all, this is what comes up on the screen. So you have high pressure gauge, press enter. It's coming up pressure sensor error because we're not connected to a sensor at the minute, so it's automatically detecting we're not connected. Or if the sensor is faulty or a wiring problem, it will also come up with the pressure sensor error. If we were connected now, it will display. If we were connected to a pressure sensor, it will display the reading in bar. Escape out of that. Then next we have high pressure pump. So you press enter. You have Bosch, Delphi, Denso and Siemens. Just went to Bosch. Then you have the different types of Bosch pump: CP1, CP3, CP1H normally open, CP1H normally closed. So we'll go CP3. Then you have different options: startup, force startup and tightness test. Go enter startup. It's telling us here to insert a dummy adapter, because when you disconnect the connection from the pressure regulating valve and connect the MM03 to the regulating valve, now the connection from the ECU side is left open and the ECU may log a fault, so you have to insert a dummy adapter. So we'll just say that we have. So you press start and start up, enter. Now if we were connected to the vehicle, we'll be reading the pressure off the rail sensor, and we're controlling this pressure through the regulating valve or the volume control valve. And then you can adjust the pressure here with the up and down arrows. And to start, then you just go start or stop. The next thing you have is injectors. When you go in here, you have to choose either coil or piezo. Select coil. And the options in here, then you have to operate it in main injection, pre-injection, pilot injection. Main injection. This is telling you to use this pressure sensor part number in conjunction with the hand pump on the bench, so that you can read the pressure directly from the rail pressure sensor instead of depending upon your hand pump gauge being accurate. Press enter, and now if you press enter again, and press start, it will now be activating the injector. and you'll also be reading the pressure from a rail sensor connected to the hand pump. And you can vary the frequency of the injector here by the up and down arrows. So again, like I said, you have main injection, pre-injection and pilot injection. And then also you have piezo. Now in the standard kit you get the hand unit, the cable, instruction manual, the dummy simulators required for when you disconnect the pressure regulating valve and connect the MM03 to it. You need to connect this to the ECU side or the wiring loom side to prevent the ECU from going into default. And then you have a universal probe for connecting to the rail pressure sensor signal wire, so you can read the fuel pressure. You have a universal connection for connecting to various injectors and volume control valves and pressure regulating valves. Then you have the Bosch injector connection, Delphi injector connection, and then you have various pressure regulating valve or volume control valve connections. Also you have a graduated burret and injector leak back connection. Now we're going to show you some of the most important optional extras for this kit. Firstly, you have a connection cable for Siemens common rail system for connecting to the volume control valve and the pressure regulating valve. Then we have the optional piezo injector driver kit used in conjunction with the MM03 will allow you to drive both Bosch and Siemens piezo injectors on the bench. The next optional extra then is the software Bluetooth. This software allows the user to graphically display the tests on the PC and to save and to print the results. So in other words, anything you're doing on the hand unit will be displayed on the PC via Bluetooth and is updated in real time. So anything you're reading here instantly will read the same on the PC. So you can see pressures, actual pressures, target pressures, minimum max pressure, all this on the PC. And then you have some information also in a database, a branded database. For example, you'll have the type of system, part number, etc. And also you have kind of a guided tutorial then on the tests. So say for example we go into high pressure gauge, press enter. Now you can view on the PC, it shows you the various locations of the pressure sensor, and then it will show us in a graph form the pressure when we are reading it. This can be printed and saved. Then for example if you went to high pressure pump, so say we go to Delphi, so it shows this picture of a Delphi pump, the type of volume control valve, location, press enter, tells you the type of cable to use and the dummy simulator to use. And so when we connect it and start doing it, you can see the actual pressure and the target pressure and the duty cycle. Also then we go to injectors, coil, piezo. Gives you instructions then on how to perform this. You can put in the injector number, the code, then you can view the pulse duration in milliseconds, the frequency, the pressure you're reading, and gives you a brief description then on the common rail injector and how to connect it. So it's a useful software and kind of guides you through all the various tests you can perform with this. And as we said, it's displayed in real time, so you can save, view later, print to show to the customer, various other things. That's about all for today, so keep an eye on our YouTube channel for the next videos about this MM03. Thank you. Hi, today we are showing part 2 of the MM03 and we'll be using it on this 2005 Fiat Scudo 2 litre JTD with Bosch common rail fuel system. So you just connect up the tool onto the battery, positive and negative. Tee in on the rail pressure signal wire, you already have this connected. Then you just go into high pressure gauge, enter, and the tool then will automatically recognise the sensor. So it's found Bosch, Delphi, Siemens sensor which are similar in the way they operate. For example, if we were working on a DENTRO system, it'll pick up it's a DENTRO. If there was an error with the sensor or a problem with wiring on the vehicle, when we go to this stage, it will come up no sensor found. So you'll know straight away if there's a fault with the sensor or the wiring. So it's found the sensor. Press enter, and it's doing the 0 calibration. Now already it's reading close enough to 0, so we know straight away our 0 point for the sensor is good. So press enter. Now we can start the vehicle and monitor the pressure. Also, if you're using the Bluetooth function, you can view it on your PC in a graph format. You can adjust the pressure scale, lower or higher. The swept time on the screen. Watch me accelerate. So that's it. So it's one of the first things where you can read the pressure directly off the rail pressure sensor. And as we said, it auto detects the type of sensor and does a test on the sensor when you go in first. For example, if we try to connect now with the ignition switched off, comes up pressure sensor error because the ignition is turned off in the van and it's not registering it. This part of the tool is very useful for example, if you have a non-runner and you want to check the common rail pressure. For example, if your diagnostic tool doesn't have this function for reading the common rail pressure, or a lot of diagnostic tools tend to lose communication when you're cranking, so that you cannot view the pressure live, so you can view it with this. Now the next part where we can go into a high pressure pump. Go here, and then you have Bosch, Delphi, Denso, Siemens. And just remember, everything we're doing here is displayed on the PC as well, via the Bluetooth, which is kind of a tutorial about how to connect to the common rail system. So we're going to Bosch, and CP1 is the type of system. And sorry, I forgot to mention, we're now connected to the rail pressure sensor signal wire, and we're connected to the pressure regulating valve with MM03, and we have the dummy blank in the ECU side to stop the ECU from going into default. So I press enter, and so now we have startup, force startup and tightness. So we're going to start up, enter. Now it's telling us to insert the adapter. This is the dummy adapter into the wiring loom or the ECU side. Insert adapter, press enter, enter. So now when we switch this on, the MM03 is going to be driving the regulator to give us 350 bar of pressure. So if I press start, start up the engine, it will take a few seconds to stabilise. can see that the actual pressure, 350 bar, is matching the set pressure that we're driving the regulator to. So this is a good indication that the system is operating correctly, because the target pressure is matching the actual pressure. Now we can also adjust the pressure here and see does it respond to the actual pressure. For example, if we go up 400 bar, it's coming up to 400 bar. So we go 450, very close to 450, so the system is fine. We can adjust it the whole way up to 500 bar, and then back down to 200. Now we can press stop and it will switch off the regulator completely. In that test we were driving the pressure regulating valve independently of the ECU. This is a very useful test to check the efficiency of the system by comparing the target pressure with the actual pressure, and it proves that the regulating valve is working okay as it responded to our adjustments. And also, if you had a non-start case where the pressure was not building up, and if you drive the regulator with the MM03, the pressure then builds up, it proves that you have a fault with the wiring to the pressure regulating valve, or a fault with the ECU where it is not signalling the pressure regulating valve. When using it in conjunction with the software Bluetooth, you can view the pressure, the actual pressure in red and the target pressure in green. So as you can see, the red line is right on the green one, so this is a good system as the target pressure is matching the actual pressure. You can also see that the Dewey cycle, that this is the percentage that we are driving the valve on. If we adjust the pressure, you watch Dewey cycle increasing, the pressure here increasing. As we said earlier, you can adjust this up to 500 bar. Now the next test we're going to do is a tightness test. This checks for tightness or efficiency when cranking. It's an ideal test for a non-runner. When we're doing this test we don't want the engine to start, so we disconnected the cam sensor, or alternatively you can disconnect the injectors. So next then we go into Bosch, CP1, tightness. So it says do not start motor, so we have the cam sensor disconnected. And now we'll just get ready to crank this while we're doing it. When I tell you there. Okay, crank. Okay. So when we're doing this test, as you heard, the battery started to go down, but the pressure still rose to just under 700 bar. So this is a good indication of the efficiency of the system, proving that we haven't got too much leak back from injectors, proving the efficiency of the pump, proving that the regulating valve is working, and various other things. The next thing we could do then, if this pressure didn't rise when we were cranking, say for example only went to 300 bar, the next thing you do then is maybe check the injector leak back when cranking, and then for example if you had too much leak back from an injector, you could remove the pipes and fit blanks to the fuel rail, so you're taking injectors out of the equation, and then you could do the test again. Now if the pressure did increase to 600-700 bar, we know the injectors are the problem. If the pressure still didn't increase, the next thing we could do then is remove the pressure regulating valve and fit a dummy regulator into the back of the pump. So then if the pressure did increase, then we know it's a regulating valve fault, or if it didn't increase, then we know it has to be the pump. And in that last test, sorry, I forgot to mention, in the last test, the tightness test, the MM03 was driving the pressure regulating valve to give us commanding pressure of 700 bar, and we achieved just under 700, so this is okay. Another test we can do then on the pressure regulating valve is to check its mechanical efficiency. For example, if you we'll disconnect the MM03 from the regulator and also leave it disconnected from the vehicle's ECU. So when there is no supply to the regulator, with the spring loaded pressure inside, the predetermined spring pressure, we should have cranking a pressure of 60 to 70 bar, and if we have this, we know that the mechanical integrity of the valve is okay. So to do this, we'll just escape back. We'll just go back to high pressure gauge. Can you crank? Okay. So as you can see, it went up to about 65 to 70 bar. So with that test now, it proves that the pressure regulating valve is working okay mechanically, and we've already proved it's working okay electrically because we were able to drive it with the MM03. That's it. So another test we can do with this is if we go into injectors, and now we are connected onto number 1 injector. Select the type, coil or piezo, so it's coil. Main injection, so you can go under main. It's saying to use a pressure sensor Bosch part number here, but this is for when you're using it on the bench in conjunction with a hand pump. So we're just wanting to do a solenoid test now, so it doesn't matter about this. So enter. So now, if you listen carefully, you will hear the injector activating, the solenoid clicking. So press start. We can adjust the frequency. It's at 1 Hertz, so we can. So you can hear the injector solenoid operating. So again, this is another good test to prove the electrical part of the injector is working okay. Now, it does not prove the mechanical side of it or for leak back or anything like this, but proves it's working okay electrically. We will be doing more on testing the injector in a later video, where we'll be testing the injector on a bench with a hand pump. So keep an eye on that. We'll be doing something on that later on. And so that's pretty much it. As you can see, there's a lot of different tests you can do with this tool, and there is many more others, but due to time constraints with the video, we can't show them all. So if you need any further information on this product, give us a call, and keep an eye on our YouTube channel and our website for more information. Thank you. 3 common rail tester, and we'll be showing how to test injectors on the bench in conjunction with a hand pump. On the hand pump, then you can also connect in a rail pressure sensor on the line, and if you're using a rail pressure sensor, you'll have to use a power supply unit set to 5 volts supplied to the rail pressure sensor, and just a 12 volt battery to power up the MM03. On the bench then we can drive the injector with MM03 both coil and piezo. And this will allow us to test the spray pattern, the injector opening pressure, and also we can check the leak back rate. So we select injectors, coil or piezo. So the one we're testing is a coil Bosch injector. Enter. So as you can see, you can view all this via the PC if you're using the Bluetooth software. So with the Bluetooth software, then you can view the pressure here, the pressure that we're reading from a rail sensor on the hand pump. You can insert the injector part number. You can view the pulse duration here, the frequency here. Then you can go to here. You can say OK or not OK for the test, for the tightness test. You can insert the opening pressure when you test the injector and see what pressure it's opening at. You key it in here and say OK or not OK for the spray pattern. And so then you can print this, or save this to show to the customer. Also then here you have information about how to test the injector. So we're selected coil injector test Bosch common rail. So if I scroll down through the manual here, it gives us information then about which cable to use, and then it gives you kind of a test data for testing the injector. So as you can see, it tells you here about how to do the flushing stage, tightness test, and the opening pressure test. Like for example, in the opening pressure tells you bring it up to 200 bar, 1 milliseconds, and set it to a frequency of 1 to 3 hertz and test it for 5 seconds. Okay, so first we'll do the flushing stage. So we're going to main injection. It was telling us the part number of the rail pressure sensor to use on the hand pump, so that is the one we're using. Press enter. Now, so on the flushing stage they're saying bring it to 300 bar, opening frequency of 1 millisecond, which is okay, and we bring it up to about 10 hertz. Okay, to start then you just press here. Bring up the pressure. So that's just the flushing stage, and it's just kind of priming out the injector. Then you can also do a tightness test. So like we said, you bring the pressure up to about 500 bar, the minimum pressure of 200 bar. So you time how long it takes the pressure to drop from 500 to 200 bar, and it should be a minimum of 10 seconds. Then another test we can do then is the opening pressure, and we'll do this now. So we bring the pressure up to 200 bar, the opening 1 millisecond, so we're set to that, and the frequency of 1 to 3 hertz. So we'll adjust down the hertz, 3 hertz, and do this for 5 seconds. So we'll press start. Yeah, go down this. So now we'll bring up the pressure slowly to see when the injector opens. And as you can see, it's starting to open just at somewhere between 180 to 200 bar. Then another test we can just check the spray pattern. So if you can zoom in on this. That's it then, so we can fill in all the details of the injector here, part number, and print it off. Like we said, then you have instructions for each type of injector. So this is the Bosch coil injector. If we keep scrolling down, you have the Delphi injector, test procedure for this, Denso, test procedure for that. If we escape back and go to Piezo, then it's showing a Bosch Piezo injector, test procedure, and it's showing you to use the trigger box when testing the piezo injectors. Then you have the Siemens piezo injector, and a test procedure for this also. So that's about it then for today, and thanks for viewing, and keep an eye on our YouTube channel and our website for other videos on this product.